The light of the two trees, Telperion and Lothlórien, cast its silver and golden glow over the lands of Valinor, but far to the east, in the shadowed woods of Middle-earth, a young elf stood by a still pool, his reflection rippling beneath a canopy of stars. Celeborn's gaze was fixed on the water, but his mind drifted far beyond it, to the whispers of the trees and the hidden paths that stretched endlessly through his home in Doriath. The world was vast, and its beauty was endless, but within its folds, darkness crept, a darkness Celeborn had yet to encounter but somehow already understood. Born among the Sindar, the Elves of the Twilight, Celeborn was a child of enchantment and shadow, his life intertwined with the deep magic of the forest. He was kin to Eleuthingel, the king of Doriath, whose great halls of Menegroth echoed with the sounds of laughter, song, and ancient wisdom. Yet, even in the heart of this beauty, Celeborn often sought the quiet of the woods. There was a yearning in him, not for power or glory, but for a purpose as enduring as the stars above. The Sindar, untraveled and untroubled by the chaos of the outside world, lived in harmony with their surroundings, but tales of unrest were beginning to seep into their lands. The Noldor had returned, bringing with them not only their brilliance but the weight of their fiery oaths and their doomed pursuit of Morgoth. Celeborn listened to these stories with a quiet intensity, his heart stirred by the bravery of the Noldor and the tragedy that seemed to follow them like a shadow. The first time he met them, the Noldor shone like the light of the stars themselves. They carried with them a restlessness, an ambition that felt as foreign to the Sindar as the rising of the sun in a land of twilight. Yet Celeborn found himself drawn to them, not out of awe but out of curiosity. He admired their craft and their learning, but he saw too the weight in their eyes, a knowledge of loss that no song could heal. In those early days, Celeborn walked the forest paths with a quiet pride, a young lord of his people. But the peace of Doriath was not to last. The shadow of Morgoth stretched its tendrils across the land, and the Sindar, once untouched by war, found themselves caught in a world that was darkening by the day. The girdle of Melian, woven by the power of Thingol's queen, shielded Doriath from the worst of the growing dangers, but even that barrier could not keep out the sorrow that began to seep into their hearts. Celeborn took up arms when the need arose, his movements as fluid as the streams that ran through his homeland. His sword sang in battle, though his heart remained heavy with the cost of every life taken, be it elf or orc. There was no joy in the struggle, only a sense of duty, a belief that the light must be protected, even in its smallest flickers. The first true test of Celeborn's resolve came when Thingol, his king and kinsman, sought to claim the Silmaril that Bern and Luthien had wrested from Morgoth himself. Thingol's pride, as great as his wisdom, drove him to demand it be set in the Noblemere, the necklace of the dwarves. Celeborn, wise beyond his years, saw the storm brewing but could do little to stop it. He watched helplessly as mistrust and greed kindled a fire that would consume Menegroth, as the dwarves of Nobrad came to claim what they believed was theirs by right. The sack of Menegroth was a nightmare that etched itself into Celeborn's memory. Flames devoured the halls he had once walked with joy, and the laughter of his people turned to cries of despair. Celeborn fought with a fury born of grief, his sword cutting down those who dared to defile his home. Yet when the battle was over, and the halls lay silent, it was not victory he felt, but a hollow ache. The light of Doriath had dimmed, and its people were forever changed. In the years that followed, Celeborn became a guide to the scattered remnants of his people, his strength and wisdom a beacon in the darkness. He carried with him the lessons of his youth and the scars of his losses, each one shaping the elf he was becoming. He traveled the lands, learning from the places he visited, from the rivers and mountains that whispered their secrets to him. But through it all, there was a longing in Celeborn, a sense that his path was incomplete. He had seen the worst that the world had to offer, but he had also glimpsed its beauty, a beauty he wished to protect and nurture, even in the face of endless shadows. And it was in these moments, in the quiet between battles, that Celeborn began to wonder if there was something, or someone, waiting for him beyond the forests he had always called home. The stars above remained unchanged, their light a reminder of the eternity that lay ahead. Celeborn's heart, though burdened, remained steadfast, his spirit unbroken. In the face of war, betrayal, and loss, he carried with him the hope that someday, the light of the world might shine again, not in fleeting moments, but in a brilliance that could not be extinguished.